We are recording.
Okay, let's call to order this regular meeting of the Peabody Public Library Board of Trustees.
Okay, can you give her a minute?
Sure.
Yeah, it says please wait.
Okay.
We had a little issue. It was best fault. Okay, we have the red light.
Okay, we're good.
Okay, regular meeting Peabody Public Library Board of Trustees for August 2021. We will note that we not only have a quorum, but I think we have everybody here tonight. Welcome. And then I would ask the members to review the meeting minutes for July 14th that have been distributed, and would entertain a motion regarding those minutes.
Chris Beck will make a motion, we approve the minutes.
Chris moves to approve the minutes. Carmen seconds. Move this closer. Am I not? There we go. There. Okay. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the minutes of the July 14th regular meeting signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes and minutes are approved. Go to Director's Report. And Mary, that other additional item I asked to be put on the agenda, we can just talk about after the other two that we've tabled.
Okay.
Since that's technically a new one.
And then I did want to ask you if we should revisit masks.
Well, we can do that.
So-
Let's go ahead
We
and do that
can-
first and just talk about it. What does everybody think about revisiting masks? I don't think it's a bad idea, but I know Mary and I both know that we had some people who were very irritated by masks when we had them before. And folks that I would think would be most concerned have probably been vaccinated. So I'm thinking we're talking about the sliver of folks who will be mask compliant without complaining that haven't been vaccinated or that have been vaccinated.
My concern is 12 and under.
Yes.
So what I'd like to request is maybe we recommend, but I don't know that enforcement's going to be doable at this point. I don't know.
What was the trigger last time? Was it when we got to a certain color code? Was it this
it was the
governor's
It was the governor.
mandate?
It was totally what the governor was doing and saying.
Okay.
But I do know that Kroger had not been doing masks, and then said if you were vaccinated, you didn't have to wear a mask. And now it says you have to wear a mask. And I'll tell you what, every time I'm in there, I'm the only one with the
I
mask.
was the lone masked ranger in there today.
So I guess what I'm saying is, what if we did just mask recommended 12 and under on the front door, and then on the door into
Children's.
the children's?
I would make it mandatory in the children's library. I would support that, but I also don't have to be the person here to enforce that. We were just talking about the Indianapolis Children's Museum, and children are required to wear masks at the Children's Museum.
Director's default appears to be to recommend masks moving forward. Does anyone object to that, or would anyone propose something more stringent?
I don't necessarily think so, but I would like it to be, I don't want to say definitive, but one way or the other, yeah. That way people know when they come in and they're going to come into the children's lab or library, they need to have a mask on, and not that's their choice if they come in or not. Like, I don't know. If we want to keep as many of the kids
Alive?
yeah, yeah, but then are we doing it on the back end? Are we still disinfecting all the books and everything in there?
We're still washing the books, mostly because we discovered how dirty they were and thought this is probably a good thing to keep right on doing. So we're doing that. And I suppose I could go back to letting the children's side have the sneeze guards up. But I'll be really honest with you, it is tough to enforce, because you got to do and then doing battle with kids, but it's not really the kids, it's the parents. And we're still trying to recover from I mean, I understand exactly what you're saying. I
Yeah.
totally understand it.
Yeah.
But I really think it'll be a battle.
Will staff voluntarily wear masks?
No.
Okay.
And I agree with Lori, but I think we're gonna get pushback because the schools are requiring it. So you're gonna hear, I think you're gonna hear that argument, well, if my kids don't have to do it in school, why do they have to do it?
Okay.
They're not requiring them in school?
No.
Okay.
Will you have a threshold for, again, if the governor says they're required, like we're in red or something like that, then you'll revisit it again?
As long as I have, I mean, if you want to give me prior authority to do that, but I hadn't really thought about it because I'm fully vaccinated. I'm a vaccinated person and I follow the science and I be honest with you, I don't understand. But it is what it is. And I'm bringing it up because the numbers are going up and because of the deviant.
What I'll go ahead and tell you is that the governor does it again. Mary's first call would probably be to me, and I would tell her, yes, put the mask mandate in. I don't think it's optional if you get an executive order.
I thought we already had passed that, and it was in our,
A prior minute,
Yeah.
yes, and it may have been. So that's the way that I think that if it's okay with you folks, that we'll proceed that direction.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Can you put it as an advisory in the children's section? Those under are advised to or recommended to.
Yeah.
That way we at least cut down on the numbers that may be willing to infect.
Yeah.
Or, you know, something in the order of, in order to keep our children safe, masks are highly recommended.
I like that.
Yeah, I do too.
Do you still have any masks?
Yes.
I know we were not giving them out at one time because we didn't want to turn into the mask place. Do we have enough that we could make some available right inside the door in the children's section with putting up the?
I could probably do it for a little bit, and then I could purchase more, but we
Well,
could try that.
Or just exhaust the.
The supply
Just to make
and
it as
then-
easy as possible, if we have them left over, unless you have some other use for them down the road.
Okay, and then do you want that effective immediately?
I don't know why we wouldn't.
we could, that's fine.
So, starting tomorrow morning? Okay,
Yes.
all right. Thank
So
you.
that by acclamation in the minutes, I guess.
Okay, thank you.
Then we're on to the business hours. That had previously, the first two, these two action items were ones that we had tabled last time. I think the primary discussion, the director had asked us to consider was closing on Sunday. She's presented that schedule again in her report. Did you want to hit with your report or just take care of these action items first?
It's ever however you want to do it.
Let's do
I'm
the
pretty
action items
flexible.
and
Okay.
then I'll shorten your report. We could certainly start discussion without a motion on the floor. We're not that tied to procedure. Or if someone, we've kind of danced around this issue lots and lots. I'm not sure if there's a whole lot more to be said, but I certainly would entertain a motion to change the hours if that's what anyone feels would be appropriate.
Well, I do want to hear if people are, if there's people that are opposed in their reasoning.
Well, and I will open up for discussion even after a motion,
Okay.
or you
Oh,
can do that,
okay,
or you
that's
can do that
fine.
now.
That's fine.
However, if there are some additional thoughts, I voiced mine last time, and I don't want to say I've done a 180 to a certain extent. It was very much for the Sundays, given the tough labor market, given the fact that that is not the norm at all in this area. We're not, and it's not like we're McDonald's and Burger King and somebody's going to go across the street. We're, you know, the folks here are going to come to this library. If they can't come Sunday, they'll come Friday or Saturday. So I'm not bothered by it. I'm kind of sad. It was kind of a neat thing to be able to have and say we were open 7 days a week and have that availability. But I would not oppose that.
Is Napanee closed on Saturday, or are they?
Oh, do I have it marked incorrectly?
No, you just have that they're open on Sunday, but that they're a Class C library.
Right.
Christ. Must be open both days of the weekend?
They are. They're actually open 60.5 hours a week. And they're required.
Yeah.
Good for them.
So,
They must have some true believers up there.
I guess so.
Well, I don't know how else to put that. Other discussion.
Well, the one piece that I had was what that looks like for our industry as far as the board's concerned. I mean, that was a big jump that we did for pay for this year going forward, and then in turn, immediately turning around and reducing hours or days of service. And someone from the teaching profession who hears a lot of, well, you get paid too much and you don't work enough, that I don't want to have happen, but then again, I also understand where we're coming from. And I don't know if we should shut down the Sunday hours now, or see if we can't get new people coming in at that rate that would want to work on the weekends or had availability to work on the weekends, fill those positions.
It was my intention to go back to Sunday hours and finish out the year with Sunday hours. And then effective January 1 in 2022, close on Sundays.
So we need to know that for the budget coming up then.
I actually just built in that we would be open. There's more money in the budget to pay for us being open on Sunday.
Okay.
I did not reduce the budget
Well,
because I wasn't sure what you were going to want to do.
And we had some concerns with meetings that were scheduled, and if you now are talking about through the end of the year, we don't have anything scheduled on Sunday in 2022.
That is correct. However, Linda did mention to me, because she does the board packet, she did say, well, Mary, if they're gonna close Sundays, we really need to do it now for 2022, because people have already called to book the room on Saturdays in 2022.
Would possibly trying to address Chris's concern, someone feel comfortable moving to table this, the consideration of this, or I guess the motion would be to table it, I could table it, till, say, our October meeting, but not allow reservations for Sundays for 2022, beginning immediately until we've made a decision on it. My fear is, and it's the same, my same hesitation last time. I don't like having things scheduled where people may have scheduled a family thing or something, had something set, and then have us call a month before or 2 weeks before and say, oh, by the way, you need to find a new venue that's acceptable to you. And so part of my concern would be for us to not, to give it plenty of lead time for the conference or for the meeting. Does that make sense?
How is, well, kind of on the same plane, but have we gotten any new applications or anything, or had any feedback from?
I am so pleased to report I have all the positions filled. Yeah.
What you said is not, it makes some level of sense. I'm not disagreeing with it. I just don't want us to go ahead and end up making that decision in October and have a bunch of stuff scheduled in February.
No, I agree.
In March already.
I just wonder, from when you're filling the Sunday schedule, is there a certain level of position that somebody here needs to have? So does it need to be a librarian?
No, I have to have a manager in the building. I don't feel that it's fair for people that are entry level to be responsible for whether the chiller goes out or, you know, something happens. And it does happen, you know, and usually it's when I'm not here, but then they call me. But you understand what I'm saying. I just don't want my line staff having to be responsible for the building. I think that's unfair. So I always require a supervisor in the building.
supervisor for Sunday?
No, I mean, they all agreed to work the hours they worked when they started here, but they also know that not all libraries are open on Sunday. And the other thing, in fairness to the full-time staff, if they work a half a day on Sunday, they still work another half day on another day. And if they work Saturday, Sunday, which they normally do, and they don't have Friday off, so maybe they work off Thursday, then they work Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, if they come in the evening, 4 to 8. So what I'm telling you is they work 8 days in a row. Now when we were open half a day on Saturday and half a day on Sunday, they were basically working 12 days in a row. So I'm just letting you know.
Any thoughts? Anyone feel comfortable making a motion?
I know it's hard, the hardest thing, Chris,
Yeah.
is I know once we do this, there's no going back. I mean, I can't imagine ever saying, okay, everybody's happy, they want to be open on Sundays from 1 to 5. That's, you know, I just really wish, I said this before, that other libraries felt like we did, that it was important for us to be open on Sundays, but it's less and less and less, so.
And right now, we're currently closed on Sundays because of the summer hours, right?
Summertime, yeah. But when your family came in, didn't you usually come in on Sunday afternoons?
Yes.
That's what I thought.
Because I
So-
don't watch NFL football. When Peyton Manning moved away, I quit watching. Okay,
Well,
library instead.
If, I don't hear anyone jumping to take advantage of the Sunday hours right now, but I'd still like to table it and maybe not in September, to look at it in October and see how things are going with the staff.
And you're okay if I go ahead and tell Beth and Linda, or Beth, to make it so that people can't reserve?
I make a motion that we do that, yes. No
Okay.
longer take 2022 for Sunday hours.
Yes, until we've made a decision.
Until we've made a decision.
Pending the decision, Chris moved to, pending making a decision regarding Sunday hours, that we will not take reservations for Sundays for the year, starting in 2022. Is there a second?
Second.
And, Mark seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And then if you can have Linda, or I guess she's over on that one, put that back on the agenda. Do you think October was give enough time?
Would that be
That's fine.
to, because if all the positions are filled, I mean, that was one big question mark we had, I thought, was to filling those positions. And
It was the wages that did it.
yeah, no, and that was my sticking point on this. So, yeah.
And you're right, to do them at the same time is interesting. And let's go ahead and
Well, we probably have to table the other.
the holidays, because that you were thinking of substituting the other holiday, Easter.
Right.
So I think that makes sense. So let's take that as well. And then, heck, let's go ahead and do the director's report, if you don't mind, Mary.
No, that's fine. Okay, so the first thing I want to tell you, you should have received a copy of the 2022 budget, and that's the one that when I met with George Helton with DLGF, we went through that. The two issues that we had were really minor. Remember when we voted to go ahead and move money from the general fund to the rainy day fund, I made a $100 error. So he found it, we fixed it, it's all fine. And then the other thing is they changed one of the forms, it had to do with the debt service, and I put a number in the wrong line. So he caught that as well, we changed it. So those were the two errors or issues that we resolved during our meeting. And then I'll bring that next month or September for the hearing.
Is the hearing, okay.
Mhm.
And adoption is in October.
Is in October. Okay, the next thing I really need your input on is, because to PTO, and I have two groups, or actually three groups of people working for us now. I did this memo, and I have not given it to them, but I wanted you to review it. So we have the people that have been here for several years who will automatically finish out the year with the sick personal vacation time. They will get the sick buyout. They will start January 1 with their accrued PTO hours. Then I have two people who started in March. So they've already been allotted their 4 personal days and 8 sick days. They will get a payout as well, but what I'm going to have to do with them is do a PTO accrual and actually subtract the personal and the sick from what they would have accrued from March until January, so that I know what their PTO hours are for January. And then they would finish out 2022 till they get their year in, which would be March 2022, what they've accrued there. Does that make sense? So that's why I have them. But then the third tier are the people that are going to start after August 1st. Because if you remember, I really can't start them with personal and sick, because the sick days were based upon the salary they were making on January 13th, and none of them were here on January 13th. So I thought it seemed unfair to have them, I guess I'm going out. But anyways, you understand where I'm going with this. So I thought, why don't we just go ahead and have us start with the PTO policy with the brand new people, where they accrue the time as we go. So after 90 days, it'll be times 13 weeks, I think it's 2.03 times whatever hours they work. We could figure that out. And then starting whatever they use in 2021 would be deducted, and that would be their starting PTO hours for 2022. Again, they would still accrue through their first year, which would be in September or August, whenever their start date is. Does that make sense? But I thought I better have it in writing. I thought I better get board approval before I go and implement this. And if you guys see something that's like way off, or Mary, you better not do that, please speak now and let me know what you think.
Any objections? I'm sorry. Any objections to the proposal from the director as to how to implement the paid time off?
No, the 3 different ways were just to keep everyone on the same or even playing field.
Correct. Correct. And then I do have the PTO policy done. I didn't know, do you guys want to review it? Do you want to vote on it? Do you want to wait until next? I'm mostly concerned about this document, but I certainly can include it with the board packet next month if you want to vote on it next month.
Let's go ahead and do that, and then we can
Okay.
have it in the board packet, and we can review it before the meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And no objections to the director's?
I don't think we need the resolution.
No, again, if she's going to go ahead and do that, unless there's an issue. Okay, keep going, Mary.
Okay, then open positions. I'm glad to report that I do have all the positions filled. I have somebody start Monday, somebody starting tomorrow, another person Monday, and then the other one on the 23rd, so a week from Monday. So we will have 20 employees, which is really good. So the other thing I needed to mention to you is I put this in the board, the issue regarding somebody plugging into hardwiring into our network with a router. I do have to say what I did was, and I'm very happy I did this, we took them off the schedule for any more testing because I felt uncomfortable letting them test in our room since this incident had happened. But I came in the 31st, July 31st, because they had already advertised that they were going to do testing. I came in and I brought in 3 hotspots. We had no issues. The Wi-Fi was working wonderfully. The hotspots were working fine. The 2.5 hours I spent with them, I think we're friends now. They did want me to ask if you would be okay for them to use this as a testing site, and I'm not sure I'm there yet. I'm fine with them using us as a meeting room location, but I'm not sure. Now, and while we were here and they used our hotspots, I was in the room. They had no issues. I also suggested to them that they may want to purchase hotspots so that they could use them at whatever location they want to use. But I felt the infraction was egregious enough to warrant maybe them finding another location to use for testing. But I don't think it was malicious.
What
I
kind
really
of
don't.
testing are they doing? That they-
Radio.
Okay, and they require a Wi-Fi signal to do that?
Correct, and then they also have to monitor the person that's being tested, so they have their own laptops with the information on
Okay.
it that they need
And
to,
the library's Wi-Fi in this area was
according
not
to
strong
them.
enough?
Now, we've
And
got
s-
great Wi-Fi.
And so they decided they'd just plug their Wi-Fi router
Correct.
directly into
Now-
our Ethernet ports that were not
Correct.
even hooked up.
Right, they just took their router and hardwired it. Now, according to the group, they said they went upstairs and somebody gave them permission. But that would depend on how the question was asked too. If somebody says, can we access your, you know.
Can we use your internet?
Right, you know, we're thinking Wi-Fi and obviously something else. But so what I did already is we did take the testing dates out. We still allow them to have their meetings here, but I wanted you to be aware of the whole situation.
So it sounds like they told you that they did this?
After the fact, yes.
So you do believe that they were not realizing that that was against the rules?
After meeting with them and spending time with them, I'm less inclined to think it was malicious intent. At the same time, it concerns me that it was thought to be okay. Does that make sense? Okay.
What your feelings are that they might try that again, even with the warning?
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
I'm comfortable with however you want to handle it. It sounds like you may soften up on that, but I don't know how the rest of the board feels, but I'm comfortable with you. It
Just
sounds like you've
okay.
drawn to their attention that you don't hardwire into our network.
Right.
That's verboten, that's not allowed, I don't care what anybody else says, and you should have known better. And somebody was suspecting to do that because they clearly brought a router
Correct.
and Ethernet cable, right?
Correct.
Okay.
How did they even access it?
They didn't.
They couldn't because of our firewall. It's just the fact that they tried.
That they tried, okay.
So. And then the other thing, oh, you want to talk about the,
Yeah.
okay.
This is not in the packet at all, and I kind of just want to see if we're on the same page. Did you distribute those? Okay. Lovely Mary Hartman will be distributing some materials for you to review regarding the subject.
I'm going to get this done.
Oh, we have a group who has not partisan, but clearly some political views that are probably not mainstream. We've set up some meetings here. That would not normally have come to my notice, but we had a longtime patron and supporter of the library who not once but twice has voiced concerns, sent editorials and some things like this to Mary, suggesting that this group should not be allowed to meet at the library. The take, and I am specifically being vague. I am absolutely purposefully being vague, okay, on that, because I'm hoping that, well, we'll see if you feel the same way. The response that Mary was inclined to give that I supported, I think that has preliminarily been given, was we aren't going to police the political views or nature of people's beliefs that are meeting here. That supported, Mary just handed out, looks like page 5 of our policy manual, and under the Library Bill of Rights that we've quoted in there, I think number 6 is the one that covers that. We just don't feel it's our position to become based on the content of what the folks' views are, to say they are welcome or not welcome to meet here. So that's how we had responded. I don't think that, again, this person is a longtime supporter of the library. And I will even go so far as to say I am very sympathetic with her possible disagreement with some of the views. But that's, to me, is kind of irrelevant. But I wanted to open up, and I am sorry if we're not being specific enough. I don't know that this person understood that things would be discussed in a public setting, and so I'm not using any names. I'm not using the name of the group because I'm not sure it's fair to that group either. But I guess I wanted to see if you guys go ahead, imagine in your mind sort of the worst case scenario on that, and we can discuss it. But if no one has a problem with the way that Mary and I have handled it, we can note that it was discussed at the board meeting and that no one was bothered by that. And I hope that am I framing that accurately, Mary?
Correct. The only thing I would like to personally clarify is anytime a group comes and wants to use our room, and they're for profit and they pay to use the room, we allow them to use the room, and we cover all ideologies. Anybody is welcome to use our room. We do not host the group just because they rent the room. And for some reason, the term host is being kind of thrown around, and that is not the case at all. The room is being rented. So I just want to make that clarification too. The library doesn't host it unless it's a library program.
Is there any thought or fear that this group could violent, or that if violence came from this group, that we would in some way be liable for that? As long as the FBI is not going to kick my door in,
you are going,
then I'm okay.
And I wanted you to think, go far left, far right, wing nuts both directions, come up with what you could. No, it's not mainstream, I would say, but no, I don't think. I think there are people with different ideas than a lot of other folks have, and that's what this country and I think the library is about, right?
So, do we have a policy, or do we need one, to protect those people that would want to protest any of the events taking place in the library?
So, and I'm trying to work that scenario out. So let's say that this person knows that this group is meeting, and so they show up to protest the group.
And they pay to be here and use the facility because they're using the facility.
I don't know that if the group was protesting, so you're talking about what do we do if we get counter?
Yeah, the library, because they're using the library space, they pay to use the library space. And security staff is on them, it's in their contract or their meeting policy. But is it, as far as the staff goes, how do we protect our staff, make sure those things?
I would call it that day. I mean, it would seem to me if doors are being blocked, or there's a safety concern, or anything that would
Obstruct the use.
Obstruct the use of the library, I would have no problem calling the local police for assistance.
Okay.
But if somebody wanted to stand out in the parking lot with a placard or something,
I don't know that we have that addressed, Chris.
Okay.
I don't think we
will
do.
hope. I don't know that it would spin.
Yeah,
I don't know that it would spin. I'm agreeing with Mary. I think what we worry about is content neutral interference with operations of the library, and basically not be concerned with where their head seems to be in terms of other things.
The staff would know that if they were causing a problem, that it would function in the library, that they would know that they could deal with that by calling them for it was
Mm-hmm.
I also see that you have number 12 on the meeting room policy, just saying that publicity for a meeting of a non-library group must not be worded in a manner that would imply library sponsorship or endorsement of the group's activities. So you kind of covered that too there.
Mm-hmm.
I'll,
I'll give props to the staff because evidently we're too friendly to everyone. Everyone feels like we're hosting everything, just being extremely friendly to the groups.
well,
Yeah,
it's,
it's good.
it's sad that unfortunately, instead of exchanging ideas, what we want to try to do too often is just shut down somebody that disagrees with us. And, you know.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, well. Anything else on that, Chris?
Just one other quick piece. Could we add the internet resources for users to the meeting room policy so it would be in one spot for meeting room?
Yeah, I told Linda I thought we actually should add a sentence to the liability form
In the library.
that says you can't hardwire into the library's
Excellent.
network. So, would that be okay? Okay.
Perfect. And outside the public meeting, I can provide a little bit more insight into some of these things, but I would have to do that with less than 4 of you gathered, so we would not have. Mary?
Okay. I think I got through everything as far as the director's report.
Okay.
Oh, other than, did you want to talk about we got a gift, $1,000 gift from the Benton W. and Thelma L. Bloom Fund from the Whitley County Community Foundation, $1,000 for us to get puppets in a puppet stage for the children of Whitley County.
Very neat.
So,
Excellent. Okay, if
Thank you.
there is nothing else, then I would, and no questions regarding any of the reports, I would ask if the trustees have had an opportunity to review the claims register and the paid claims, and regard if there were any questions, or if not, if there would you feel comfortable making a motion to approve those.
Hey, how did the electric bill go down so much? Like it was wacko, and then it like leveled out, and then it was down, and now it seems like it's.
well, I think it's a combination of things. I know they got the air handling controls on the air handling units, and that may be playing a role in that.
Okay.
I think the pumps finally settled down a bit, so some of that too. I think we're still above the what I budgeted, but it certainly looks better.
Yeah, it definitely does.
Make a motion to approve the claims.
Chris has moved to approve the claims as presented. Is there a second?
I second the motion, Ben.
Beth has has seconded the motion to approve the claims. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the claims as presented signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Claims are approved. Is there any further business? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Lori Shipman moved to adjourn. That was fast.
Hey, I wanted to do it.
Is there a second?
50 seconds.
Nikki seconds the motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We will stand adjourned.